Welcome to the ISO's Tips on Demand, Tools for Immigration and Preparation Support. This is Module A, which provides an overview of immigration documents for new students. This unit will specifically review the process to request an I-20 or DS-2019. In this unit, we will review the new student request for I-20/DS-2019 form, discuss appropriate immigration processing options, provide guidance on the necessary financial support documentation, and finally, review the timing and delivery of your immigration document. Before we begin, you may be wondering which visa type is right for you. The University of Rochester is able to sponsor students in either the F1 or J1 visa category. Both programs require full-time enrollment and include certain student work permissions. However, the F1 program is usually more flexible in terms of source of funding, modifying your program of study, long-term travel plans, and other areas. If you have sponsorship from your home government that requires the J1 visa, you may request this. Otherwise, the ISO would recommend the F1 visa for most international students. You can find more information on the ISO website or contact our staff to review your situation if needed. To apply for your student visa, you will need a paper eligibility document issued by ISO to take to your interview at the consulate. The information we need to issue your document is collected on the new student request for I-20/DS-2019 form, which we usually refer to as the new student request form. This is what the new student request form looks like. You should fill out page 1 as well as the top portion of page 2. You will then submit or upload the form to your admitting department or admissions office, who will complete the gray section on page 2 and submit to ISO for processing. Along with the new student request form, be sure to attach a photocopy of your passport identification page and financial documents. If you have questions, each section of the form links to additional instructions on our website. For now, let's go into a little more detail on the information we need from you. Under the first section for biographic information, please enter your name exactly as it is indicated on your passport. Most of you can find the official formatting of your name by looking at the machine-readable section of your passport identification page. It is important that your immigration record and university records match this information exactly. We'll skip over the immigration processing section for just a minute and move on to address details. Your home country permanent residential address must be a physical address located outside the United States. Post office boxes are not acceptable for immigration purposes, but you can maintain a separate mailing address with your academic department or school. A current U.S. address is only needed for individuals who are currently residing in the United States. Please also indicate someone we may contact on your behalf in the event of an emergency. This person may be anywhere in the world, but we do ask that they speak English. If you are not fully funded by the University of Rochester, you will need to provide evidence of financial support. Documentation is required to cover the estimated cost of tuition, fees, and living expenses for the first year of study in your program. Your department can tell you the amount you are expected to show. Please keep in mind that this is an estimate for immigration purposes only and may not fully reflect all of your costs. Many students find that their actual expenses are more or less than this estimate, based on personal habits. Evidence of financial support must show liquid assets only. Acceptable documents may include an official, unaltered bank statement for a checking or savings account, an original bank certificate, or a letter from an employer or other sponsor. Documents should be recent, issued within 6 months of your visa interview or entry to the U.S. If you are being funded by a relative or friend, be sure to attach a letter of support indicating their relationship to you and that they authorize the use of their funds for your studies. Please submit photocopies of your financial support documents with the new student request form rather than mailing us the originals, since you will need the originals during your visa interview. If you plan to bring your spouse or children with you to Rochester, please include copies of each dependent's passport identification page and complete the dependent section on the new student request form. You will be required to show an additional $7,000 in financial support for each sponsored dependent. Let's return now to the immigration processing section on page 1 of the new student request form. Of the 4 options listed, you'll need to indicate the appropriate one for you. Most new students will choose the first option for initial attendance. This is true if you are currently outside the U.S., you do not hold an active SEVIS record, and you will enter the country as a new student. If you've recently studied at another school in the U.S. and currently hold an active SEVIS record, please choose the second option for immigration transfer. You are simply transferring from one U.S. school to another and will keep your current F1 or J1 immigration record. If you are currently in the U.S. maintaining another valid non-immigrant status, you should select the third option to change immigration status. Please let us know if you plan to travel and apply for a student visa or will remain in the U.S. and submit your application to the government. Finally, if you are currently a University of Rochester student or are returning after an absence, check the last option for continuing studies at U of R. If you are returning to the university from an absence of less than 5 months, you may be able to reactivate your previous SEVIS record and should contact the ISO to determine your immigration options. If you choose the option for either immigration transfer or change immigration status, please also view the appropriate unit in this module for additional instructions and information based on your situation. Once you've completed your new student request form, you'll probably want to know when you will receive your new I-20 or DS-2019. Again, please forward the form with the attached supporting documents to your department or admissions office. Once the complete new student request form arrives in the ISO, we can usually issue the I-20 or DS-2019 in 2 weeks. If we need additional information, we will let you know. Documents are processed in the order we receive them. However, we will prioritize by start date for students who are scheduled to begin their program of study earlier. Once your document is available, it will be mailed to you by your admitting department or admissions office. Be sure they have your correct mailing address. All questions about timing or mailing should go through your department. Please do not contact the ISO to inquire about the status of your I-20 or DS-2019, since this only slows down our processing times. Let's review what we've covered in this unit. In order to obtain your I-20 or DS-2019, you must complete the new student request form. Then, you will attach photocopies of your passport ID page and any supporting documents for financial or dependent information if needed. Lastly, please submit the documents to your admitting department or admissions office. The ISO will contact you with any questions we have before issuing your new immigration document. Thanks for viewing this production of the International Services Office. The remaining units in this module offer additional information to students who are transferring their SEVIS immigration record, who are changing their immigration status, or who are obtaining sponsorship from another organization besides the University of Rochester. Please view the appropriate video next if any of those apply to you.